Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Matt. Thanks for stopping by. Now it's going to be a quick intro today because I really couldn't find a whole lot of information about this fly I'm about to tie. I did get it from Randall Scott Stetzer's book, Flies the Best 1000. It's a pattern created by Herb Butler. And now a quick internet search on Herb, all I could come up with was that he came from the Pacific Northwest, looks like out in Seattle, and he did design a reel back in the 1940s or 50s. So that's about all I could find on Herb Butler. But this fly he created is still in at least one book, and it's a really cool looking pattern. It's called the sandfly. Now what I really like about this is the marabou tail and then a thread for the rib. So this theme, a marabou tail, rabbit body, a thread rib, and then a hen hackle, you could tie so many flies with this. I mean, change the colors too much, it's not going to be a sandfly. But still, the general principles of this type nymph pattern, you can get a lot of mileage out of it. So I think it's a pretty cool pattern, really easy to tie. I think you're going to like it. Let's give it a shot. So there you go. This one's called the sandfly. Not a whole lot to it, but pretty nifty looking pattern. Now just tie this whatever size you tie your nymphs. 10, 12, 14, 16s, 18s. I'm tying this on a 14. It's a 2X long barbless nymph hook. And I'm going to start with about, 8 or 10 wraps of 015 just to weight most of the body. Okay, and I'm going to put black 70 denier, build a little dam behind it, take it up over it, put another dam in the front, then bring it back to the tail. Now the tail on this thing is one of the coolest parts of the fly. Just a big tuft of marabou. See this right here? And I'll show you how I do it. You can see it will divide into, smaller fibers. Each one of these fibers has lots of small microfibers. So what I'll do, just, from that one tuft of marabou, I'm grabbing about this much right here. And it looks like it's a whole lot more than you need, but I'll show you what we're going to do here. So we've got the thread where we're going to catch it in. I'm just going to do a pinch wrap right here. Try to keep it on top. Not all that important, but it'll just make it a little bit cleaner looking. Okay, so not too clean right now, but don't worry, we'll take care of that shortly. So what I do with a marabou tail like this, I just split this, pull a couple of these off, and then pinch them with my fingernail and break them. So just kind of pinch it right there and pull. Do that with the next few, pinch it and pull. And do that all the way down until you get the tail that you want. Don't try to do too many at once, it might not break very easily. So that's it right there. That's the tail that I want. Now a little bit more cleanup right here, or smooth that out between the weight and the back of the hook. So the rib on this is yellow thread. So I'm taking the thickest yellow thread I have, which is a 210 denier, and I want it to be even thicker than that. So I'm going to just catch this. I cut about 6-inch piece. And I'm going to catch it in right here, and then I'm going to bring the tag end up too. So, okay, that's caught in. And then here's my tag end right here. I want to just catch this in. Basically, I'm doubling it over so that I can have twice as thick of a piece of thread to wrap here. Okay, and I think that's going to work right here. Try to flatten those. They're not going to flatten too well. I might have to just trim them, but I'll just park that out of the way with my magnet. And I got a little bit right here I'm going to trim. I'd probably be able to hide that with my dubbing, but it's just as easy to trim it. So the dubbing on this is going to be brown rabbit. Definitely want some wax on here. Now, I don't think I've ever mentioned this. If you don't have one of these things, it's worth making. Just a 1/4-inch wooden dowel, I poked a hole in it, put a hook in it, snipped the barb off, the tip off, and that makes it perfect for getting in one of these boxes. So I just put it in there, spin it around, and then pull a bunch out. So that's how I get my dubbing out. So this handy little tool here, you know, make one if you don't have one. Okay, so I'm not having to dub too much on here because we got a pretty thick underbody. So fairly thin, and you can put a taper on it if you want. The one in Stetzer's book does not really have it with a taper, and I don't think it's going to make it look a whole lot different, but there's a couple of inches of a noodle right there. I'm going to take it right back to the back and then just put a thin body up here. I might need to add a little bit more dubbing before I get to the front. And I didn't even go far enough, so just a hair more here. Okay, I think that's a fine looking body. Now I'm going to take my yellow thread and I'm just going to put them together and then give it a little spin, and I'm going to counter wrap this. You probably don't need to counter wrap it, but why not? Just evenly spaced wraps. Let the thread lay pretty flat. I think it'll give you a nice segmented look. Okay, when you get it up front, 2 or 3 tight wraps to secure this thread rib. Now let's snip this off. And one more component, our hackle. It's a ginger hen. So take a ginger hen or light brown, whatever you got. This is the feather I'm going to use right here. And just, you know, you might want to bend it around. Is that going to be too long? Nope, I think that's going to be fine. So I'm going to catch it with the concave side toward the hook. Just 2 wraps right here. Let's go 3. Fold it back over, 1 or 2 more. And then make sure this base right here is kind of flat, kind of smooth. Let's snip off this excess. And this feather I'm using is about 1.5 inches long, maybe 2 inches, but I'm going to use my hackle pliers. Just makes it a little bit easier for these that are hard to grab. Okay, try not to let it spin around on me too much. And I'm going to put about 2 wraps. Or if that was 2, then I guess I'm going to put 3 because I don't think that is too full just yet. Okay, so 2 or 3 wraps, whatever the fiber density on your feather gives you. I think 2 thread wraps right here will catch this off. We still got room to clean up this head. And give it a little bit of the swept back nymph leg look. So I'm just going to push all these back right here and watch the point of your hook, but take my thread right behind the eye and then build a little ramp right here. It doesn't have to be a tiny head, but it doesn't need to be a huge one either. Just whatever's going to give you a nice clean looking head. Okay, I think that's fine right there, and that gives us the look we want. A little bit swept back, you can still see the body, still see the rib, and that cool looking marabou tail. So we're ready for a whip finish and a drop of head cement. And there you go, Herb Butler's sandfly is done. Again, pretty cool looking pattern, not hard to tie, but you could make it a very versatile fly just by varying the marabou tail or the body or even the rib color. So that's it, my friends. I appreciate you watching. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.